you. The Pearls of Wisdom virtual online retreat is proudly sponsored by Serenity Radio. Find out more at serenityradio.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to the Pearls of Wisdom video channel. Now today we again are speaking about Pearls of Wisdom virtual online retreat that is running 5th and 6th of September, and have a very special guest today. We speak all day, every day, because she's so very special and wonderful. And not only is she an exhibitor, she's a platinum sponsor as well. Today I'm speaking to Jo Dutfield from Jo Dutfield for the Whole of You. Jo, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Morning, love. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Well, we were just talking. I'm having a bit of a wobbly day today, and it seems quite poignant that I'm having a wobbly day, because on the retreat, that's what I'm aiming to do, is teach people tools to cope with wobbly days as well as easy days. So I'm having a wobbly day, just some difficult news today, and it really does help me on those days that I have the tools in order to kind of rebalance and get myself back to a place where I feel calm and strong again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always a learning day, isn't it? A wobbly day. I always see them as learning days.
Yeah. Oh, I tend to agree, because you think everything's all going on the same keel, and then suddenly something hits you and you think you're not invincible, but again it helps you learn, it helps you grow.
Absolutely, yeah. I always try and look for the treasure in everything, and I've said this to you before. I'm annoyingly Pollyanna-ish. I always look for the positives in things, but sometimes you have to face stuff where there might not be that treasure, and you need to be able to allow yourself to feel it. I think so often we avoid feeling, and I mean, I think when we've had conversations before, you said to me in difficult times in your life you felt numb, and I think so many people go through their life numb.
Yeah.
And I refuse to do that anymore. It doesn't mean that I'm a martyr to pain or difficulties. I don't mean that, but I will not allow myself to depress my feelings. I won't push them down anymore. I'm not holding them in my body.
Yeah.
So I've had to find different ways to express myself, different ways to take care of myself, and different tools in order to balance that out. So yeah, I mean, it's all very relevant. I do think that, you know, our guides, they will, when we've agreed to do something like this, and it's obviously your first one of these, one of many, and it's a massive leap of faith for you, and it's a massive commitment to everyone that's involved in it, because they're all aiming to help others, and so just the mere energy of that is huge. And so I think all of our guides will be getting us as best as possible into the right place, spiritually, physically, mentally, in order to be able to serve. And so there might just be a couple of things you have to deal with before you can be your true authentic self and teach. That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
Tend to agree completely. As you know, because I shared with you that I had a lovely lady sign up yesterday to attend the event, and I got so excited, and she's emailed me since, and it came from my Pearls of Wisdom Serenity show, and she said,
it's wonderful.
She shared she'd listened to my show every week, and the one that played yesterday when I was playing mantras, which you got me into and reminded me of where I
the chanting.
and I did the Jagdish one, and the lady came back and said it brought back memories that she'd listened to that as a child and her mother playing it.
How
and
wonderful is that?
It just felt special. So you know that you're touching the right people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so special with that. And so for all the attendees, that special spark that they're going to find from all the different people that are on here.
I agree. And there's that realness as well, because when you talk on your show, you're very similar to me. You give yourself. So you know, when you're interviewing people, you're properly listening. I interviewed a lady for the Serenity show that I do on Wednesday, and she said to me that at the end, afterwards, when you're kind of just catching up once the recording's finished, she said that she could really tell that I was properly listening.
Yeah.
And that I was really engaged in what she was saying to me. And I always feel that with you. And I think the listeners can hear it. And that's the thing, is that you know that you're in service, same as I know that I'm in service. And when you're helping others and they send you messages like that, it's deeply nourishing, because that's why you're doing this. That's why you're putting yourself out there, because you want to make that difference to people. And I mean, the chanting I absolutely adore, and it's something that I've done for years. And I used to worry, thinking, well, you know, they're Hindu chants, I'm not Hindu, should I be doing that? But actually, I do have a couple of Hindu friends that I know very well, and they said, of course you can do it, you don't need to be Hindu to do it. You know, it's a joyous thing, enjoy it, go and do it. And it kind of gave me the green light at the time.
Yeah.
I love them. There's chants for everything, and they're so empowering. And of course, the work I'm going to do on the weekend is about the chakras.
Yeah.
And there are specific chants for each chakra. There's chants that align with what the different chakras do and how the body, the vibration balance is. So yeah, we will be doing a bit of chanting on the weekend.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant, because I know the mantras that you shared with me, I now have put in as my morning ritual. I've moved on from the meditations to the mantras, and I find I'm bopping along to some of them. They're such a rhythm.
It's wonderful.
It's brilliant.
That Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, especially one with Eddie and Jo. It's because it's a sangha, and there's all these people singing together. You can't help but start to swing your body and move your body. How good is that?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So good for us, you know. And it's making me smile now talking about it. And when I'm doing it, I can't help but have like an ear to ear smile.
Yeah.
So it's all these little tools and things that we bring in.
Yeah, definitely.
And I find it's the days when I don't do those things. It's the days when I'm too busy, or I'm too tired, or someone gives me something else to do, or you get distracted. It's those days when, I don't know, I maybe have to work a little bit harder if things come in that are challenging.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I completely agree and connect to that, because yes, I did have a time where I would do like 3 hours in the morning where I do my journaling, I do my affirmations, I do my mantras, I do my meditation. But then I'd feel out of sorts if I didn't do it, but I'd given myself too much to do. So I now take some bits out, and if I can combine a few, like the mantras or the affirmations, you know, I record the affirmations I do, and I listen to myself, and it seems to be even more empowering when I do that. So
yeah, I think that's really effective. The thing is as well with the chanting, especially for some of the more difficult chants, like the Gayatri mantra is quite a long mantra, and it took me quite a long time to learn that one. When they're quite complicated or even quite rhythmic, like the Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, you can't really think about anything else, because if your mind drifts off, you lose your rhythm, and you lose your words.
Yeah.
So it's a meditation in itself, the chanting the mantras. And what it does is it enables us to let stuff bubble up. So you'll find as you're chanting, any thoughts or feelings or any rumblings that are going on, they'll work their way up to the surface like bubbles.
Yeah.
And you just observe them. One of the biggest things that I was taught that helped me was that I am not my thoughts. My thoughts are productions of chemicals in my brain, and of my brain observing the world. And so my thoughts were a reaction. That's not my consciousness. My thoughts are not who I am. So when you're meditating, however that may be, whether that's through chanting your mantra, whether it's through repeating affirmations, whether it's through walking with mindfulness, whatever your meditation is, allow the things to bubble up and just notice them. Like you would if you were sat in the car and you know when we people watch and you'll go, oh, that man's got a green umbrella, and then you let it go.
Yeah.
It's like that with thoughts when they come up. You don't then wonder, well, you might, but it's very unlikely you're going to wonder what that man with the umbrella's name is, or what he's just bought at the shop, or whether he's married or not. Unless he looks like, you know, George Clooney or something, we're not really taken to then let our thoughts follow what we've just seen. And it's like that with thoughts. Observe it. Oh, I've just had a thought about the kitchen bit needing doing. Okay, that's interesting. And let it flow, let it go. You don't have to then follow it and start thinking about what you're going to do with the kitchen. That's my point. You are not your thoughts. You can stand back from them. And the reason that helps us is that when we have more challenging thoughts that might be from limiting beliefs or blocks or other people's projections, especially when it comes down to when we shame ourselves, like, who do I think I am? Or, you know, nobody's going to believe in me, or, you know, why should anyone listen to me? Those kinds of things, they'll bubble up while you're meditating as well. And you can observe them. And actually what's quite fun is when you finish your meditation, write those things down and maybe just ask, where was the seed of that? Where did it begin? That's my favorite phrase, is that's interesting. That's what I say to myself. I go, that's interesting. Why did that come up then? And if you do the work, you can get to the bottom of where that thought, why it came out then. But you don't want to do that while you're meditating. But it enables you to keep yourself clear.
I mean, clearer. You know, when I do the meditations, and like the retreat itself came from a download, definitely came from a download, and my guides will give me all these ideas and nudges as I'm meditating. And I always record. I get the memo out and I record. As soon as I finish the meditation, I record that, because otherwise I know I'm going to forget, because it's there.
It's a bit like a dream, isn't it? It's like if you have a dream, the minute you tell someone, you forget it. Like you have to hold on to it. Don't tell anyone until you can write down what the dream was. I had a weird thing yesterday, actually. I hadn't told you. I was going through my emails and just catching up with my emails, and I thought I'll go through like my archive stuff, start deleting bits which I don't need anymore. And I was searching for something that I wanted to send to somebody, and up popped this email that I'd sent myself. And it was from 2013. And I'd had this dream about my family, and I'd had this dream that my brother, and I'd written it all down and emailed it to myself for whatever reason. And it popped up on my emails yesterday. I wasn't looking for it. It wasn't attached to anything else. It just popped up. And in my dream, I'd had this vision that my brother had bought a big terraced house in the town that he lives in, that it needed renovating, that it had a lean-to on the side with an outside toilet, been lived in by an old lady, and it hadn't had any renovations. And I had a dream about, and also in the dream was about my nephew and my niece, and I was writing down what they were going to do with their lives and things like that. And bearing in mind, this is 7 years ago. And I found it and I read through it, and oh my God, the predictions in this dream. So my brother's literally just bought a terraced house in the town that he lives that needs renovating, that was lived in by an old lady, has a lean-to on the side with an outside loo. The things I'd seen for my niece and nephew have all come true. Things like degrees, places they travelled. I was reading it to my daughter, and we were just sat. Well, I mean, the thing is with my family, they're so used to me doing these things that they don't react like everyone else would. They just go, oh yeah, oh that's good. Like they're over the oh my God. I don't get that from them at all. I just get an oh that's amazing, yeah, brilliant, yeah, and then they move on. And I was going, don't you realise how amazing this is? And they were like, yes, but we're used to it with you. You know, it's like, and I really wanted someone to give me a big reaction at this thing. But it was, yeah, so writing things down, I think, is really important, whether it's dreams, whether it's after meditations. Sometimes it won't make sense there and then. Like when you get downloads, you'll think, what on earth is that about? What's that about? And then, I don't know, 2 weeks later, someone will mention something and all the synchronicities will fall into place. And so it's really important to, I think, to note these things down. Yeah.
Definitely. Now I'm going to ask you, because I know we've gone straight in and we've discuss certain things for the listeners and the attendees and anyone that wants to jump on board. Can you give us a breakdown of exactly what you're going to be covering? Because I know you're fantastic. Most of the people that connected to you know just how fantastic you are, but there's so many people that still need to learn. So this is your chance to share exactly what they can gain from your sessions.
Well, I've been a holistic therapist for nearly 8 years now, and I've been giving readings since I was 16, and I'm 40 something this year. It's about 30 years that I've been doing readings for, so I'm very experienced in both aspects of my work. And I work with people usually on a one-to-one basis, sometimes in groups, sometimes teaching classes, but I work with people to help them create the life that feels best for them. And I do that in a number of ways. One is through healing. I'm a CNHC registered Reiki practitioner, which means I'm covered by the Professional Standards Authority. And what that does is it just raises my bar of professionalism and the standards that I work within, which was why I did it. I love to share my knowledge, and they say that you're an expert if you've spent 1,000 hours at something. And I've spent many thousands of hours, and I've seen many thousands of people for readings and easily 1,000 people for healing. And so I've put in and invested a lot of time, effort, money, energy into learning my craft. And my craft is helping people to feel better about themselves, about their life. So I was thinking about how I might create a space within the retreat for that. And at first I was thinking I need to do all these advanced things, and I can teach this and I can teach that. But I was grounded to remember by my guides that, you know, there's going to be people from all walks of life, and there will be people that have never done this kind of work before. I know your aim is to connect with those people that maybe aren't heard and aren't seen. Yeah. And to help the people that might be at the beginning of their journey. So I became really mindful of that. So what that's resulted in is a twofold approach. So on the Saturday, the morning is going to be about the intuition and about learning how to connect with it, learning how to hear it, what to do when it does connect with you, how to act on those intuitive messages, signs and connections. And then in the afternoon and moving into Sunday is working on the chakra system. The chakra system is the energy system that runs through the body and outside of the body, actually. But the idea is that it's how your life force moves through your body. And if you're not familiar with chakras, do Google it and have a look. It's a widespread used practice, and it's used within Chinese medicine, Middle Eastern medicine, things like acupuncture, acupressure, all kinds of massage uses the meridians, which is in a sense the chakra system. Yeah. All kinds of Asian medicine uses it, reflexology uses it. And so it's a really well developed and well understood in holistic and complementary fields way of freeing up the body and allowing the life force to move through easier. Now, the chakras are aligned off of the body, they are above the body, they're etheric, so they're working with divine energy is the idea, and then beneath the feet you have the Earth Star, which is connecting you to Gaia and grounding you and holding your space here. The other chakras are all within the body, and there are really important points. So we have one on our crown, just above our head here. We have one on our brow. We have one in our throat. One in the center of our chest, the heart chakra. Just below the breastbone is the solar plexus. Then about an inch below the tummy button is the sacral. And then the perineum, which is the space right in the center of our genital area, is our base chakra. And they turn, if you imagine them as like a ceiling fan or a water wheel, and that allows our chi or our life force energy or our prana, depending on what you want to call it, to move through our body. And if any of those energy points get congested, get polluted, get stuck or stop turning as well as they should, then that means that our prana isn't moving as quickly as it should, our chi isn't moving, our life force isn't able to keep the flow going through our body. And when we have stagnancy within the body, it can cause all kinds of problems, both mental, emotional, and physical. That is the theory behind it. That's the thinking behind it. And I truly believe it because I've seen it in the thousands of people that I've healed. The biggest thing you can do for somebody is clear their chakras and help them to maintain that clearing, because then the body just works better.
Yeah.
And you feel better and you're stronger. And especially if you have a spiritual leaning, and you're going to want to work with your guides, your angels, maybe with a mentor, even doing chanting. If you are working on your chakras and clearing them, everything has a greater effect. Everything has a bigger, a more pronounced effect on you. Yeah. And so the idea is that we'll work through the chakras, and I'll show you, we'll have a look together and we can analyze if you do have blockages there. So I'll show you how to check if it's blocked or if it's not. And then I'll show you how to clear it, how to keep it cleared, how to heal certain areas that are affected by the chakras, and some real in-depth knowledge about how you can do that. And hopefully it'll be really interesting. Caroline Mace is an American lady who is one of my gurus I look up to, and she wrote a book called The Anatomy of Spirit. And when I read that, and it is specifically about the chakras, it changed my whole approach, because I kind of had a hunch about how it affected our wellness, but she is so well respected and so well thought of. And she's very grounded, very down to earth. She's the least woo-woo person you'll ever meet. And she talks about chakras, she talks about energy, she talks about how we can keep ourselves well. And it changed it for me, because it was written in a way that wasn't too spaced out. It was accessible and it's real. And if you've never worked with the chakras before, you might be the most kind of grounded, practical person that doesn't do anything spiritual. I would still urge you to try and do some work with your chakras, or even give it a go with me on the weekend, because you will feel a difference. I promise you will. And hopefully at the end of it, everyone will have tools in order to keep themselves in a state of more well-being.
Yeah. And this, as you say that, it's bringing back memories of years ago. This is when my son was like a toddler, and he was 29 a couple of weeks ago.
Scary how quick it goes.
Oh, it is. And this one lady, she said to me, she says, I'm a healer. She does healing. I remember she put a hand over my tummy, and I felt everything move. I literally, you were saying about the chakras moving, and you're saying that I completely forgotten about that, and I could physically, and it was like, it was so surprising because I hadn't expected it. And because I'm speaking so much for recording for interviews and podcasts and everything, I'm trying to look after my throat chakra. So yes, nearly every video or anything you'll see, I choose so many different crystals to wear, but I keep my throat chakra crystal that is always close to me, because I'm trying to look after it. But you've taught me things, and I see a difference. When I've worked too hard, because I will record a message to you and I'm croaky as anything.
And it is a constant maintenance, really, but it's like anything. It's like with the car, if you only get it serviced once a year, it's going to be a bigger job than if you're doing a weekly check on it. And it's like that with the body. It's something that we can't afford to ignore. It's something that we should be giving attention to. And there's ways to clear the chakras and I'll talk about this on the weekend. You can clear them with sound, you can clear them with movement, you can clear them with meditation, you can clear them using essential oils, crystals. There's so many ways. And so no matter who you are or how you like to work or what your belief system is, you will find a way that feels comfortable for you, that has a logical reasoning or has a spiritual connection. Everyone will be able to connect with it, because I'm going to show you loads of different techniques on how to create that balance within the body. And it is about balance. And when you're doing mediumship, which obviously I've done readings, like I said, all those years, you have to learn how to open and close. It's really important that you can close your energy down to outside influence. And that's the other thing that I'm going to offer within the intuition part, is showing people how they can, because you can't stop the chakras. You can't stop the chakras. If the chakras stop, so do you. You wouldn't be alive because it's moving the chi through. So we don't want to stop the chakras. What we want to do is protect the chakras. So I'm going to also demonstrate and teach a way that you can protect your chakras so that you can function. You don't necessarily have to be feeling, seeing and sensing everything that's going on around you. And I think the world, the way it is at the moment, especially the way the planetary things are set up at the moment, I talked about this on my page last night. There is an energy which is saying you can have what you want, but if you're expecting to have it exactly when you want it and how you want it, then think again. Because there is this really challenging energy that's moving through, and it's trying to push up all of our dark side. And we all have a dark side. I never trust people who are saying they're just love and light, all right? Because it's not real. And we're meant to have a dark side. We're meant to be the candy stripe with the dark and the light running through us. And we have darkness because in the universe, everything has to be balanced. And I've found that if I've ever tried to be love and light all the time, and I push down the bad feelings, or I push down the difficulties or the irritations or whatever, I set myself up for a bit of a challenge later on, because you just can't do it. And so with the world the way it is now, there's so much uncertainty and there's so much talk of negativity, and they're priming us. And when I say they, I mean the media, the politicians. They're priming us for failure. They're priming us that we are all going down a slippery slope together. And the reason that they do that, in my mind, is so that when they save us all, and when things get better, we're all on our knees praying and thanking them for saving us all. When in actual fact, they are the architects of this. They can either bolster everybody or they can drag everyone down. But either way, I don't care who you are or what you do for a living. You need to be aware of the energy that you are soaking up off of other people. And a lot of people who are high achievers are also ultra sensitive people. They have that because they have this gut feeling, this intuition. They can sense just walking into a boardroom what's going on in there. And equally, they can sense walking into the playground, dropping their children off. They can sense the people that are friendly and the people that aren't. You know, it's on a basic level. When people say to me they don't believe in intuition and they don't believe in energy or spirit energy, or that people can connect with energy, I always point them to the fact that when you buy a house, you decide in the first 3 minutes, basically because of the feel of the place. And even the least spiritual people you'll ever meet will tell you that they bought a house, it had to feel right. Well, that's energy medicine. Hello. You're sensing what's gone on in that place beforehand. And do you know how you do that? Do you remember that drawing I showed you of the aura, and then it had all these little tentacles coming off? We have little, I call them tendrils, but if you think of them as tentacles, your body is here. Science has proven we have an electromagnetic field around us that's created by the heart and the brain, and it pushes out to sense danger, okay, or sense what we're walking into. They think it dates back to when we were cavemen, so that if there were predators that were unseen, we could sense the change in atmosphere, okay. And our ancestors, let's face it, for probably 6 months of the year they lived in caves in the dark, so they had to be able to sense their surroundings a lot better. And so we still use that mechanism today, but what it does is it senses the energy around us, and it will grip onto something. It comes down that tendril, it comes into the aura and straight into your central nervous system. And when it hits your central nervous system, it heads up to your brain, and your brain has to work out whether that is kind, unkind, healthy, unhealthy, positive or negative. And it does that in a millisecond. And that doesn't matter whether you chant, whether you don't believe anything, because there's no religious need with this, there's no spiritual need with this. This is literally about sensing in your body what is good for you in your surroundings, and you can't get away from the fact that that happens. So the more in tune you are, the more sensitive you are, the more you're gonna sense, because you're more open to receiving. So when people awaken or people develop, of course that way of feeling things and sensing things increases. But I really want to appeal here as well to the people that might not be spiritual yet. They might just have a curiosity. They might just have an interest. They might just want to observe and see, what is this all about? You know, it's relevant to all of us. And so if you imagine being ultra sensitive, let's think about a business person just for a moment. Okay, so we have a businessman. Let's make him a businessman. And he's not in touch with spiritual things at all. He's very grounded, he's very practical, he has a very stressful life, he's responsible for other people. But every time he goes into the boardroom, he gets this feeling through his body. Now it might be goosebumps, it might be pins and needles, it might just be a shudder of energy. And he puts that down to either anxiety, or maybe not feeling right that day, or he's not quite sure, he can't put his finger on it, but it keeps happening. What's happening for that person is that they're sensing the energy in the room. It could be because someone else is there, it could be for what the room was used for before. But what it does do to him is it throws him off, because he's distracted by it. And it can knock our confidence, because we're thinking, well, what is that feeling? If I got anxiety now, why am I feeling like that? And the other side of that is you can feel other people's emotions too. Yeah. So you might suddenly have this feeling of anxiety, but if you're ultra sensitive and your aura is open, then it will feel like it's yours. And one of the most powerful things you can do actually is when you get a sudden mood. I'm not talking about you've had a row with somebody at home and it puts you in a bad mood, because you know why you're in that. What I'm talking about here is when we get a sudden mood, so a sudden grumpy mood, or we suddenly have this feeling of despondency, or equally a feeling of euphoria, and we don't know where it's come from, because all we're doing is sat watching a film or something. It's normally 99% of the time where we've picked up on someone else's energy. Yeah. And the biggest thing you can do is just close your eyes, look upwards and say, is that me or not me? And the person you're asking is your higher self, your soul self, your consciousness, all right, the bit of you that's alive. And you will get a reply, me or not me. It will give you one of the others. If it comes back with me, then all well and good. Okay, fine. I've obviously got that from somewhere and I'll have to accept it. Or you can do something about it. If it says not me, then you need to face the fact that you're picking up other people's energy. Yeah. And then you need to take steps in order to clear that away. And that's what I'm going to show people, is how we can affect that, how we can do that. How can we clear ourselves off if we've been and had an argument with somebody? Or equally, you know, that feeling when you've had a row, or no, let's put it a different way. So you go round to a friend's house, you knock on the front door. Even before you got to the front door, you're thinking, something's not right here. They answer the front door and you can feel that atmosphere. There's been a row. You know there's been a row. Mm-hmm. And it's not because of the way they're acting. You can feel it literally as they open the front door, right? So that's the other thing that I want to look at, is how we can clear that space, how we can clear energy. Because if you go in that house where they've been arguing, they might not be arguing while you're there and they're putting on their best show face, but you've soaked up that energy. Yeah. So chances are when you leave, you will not be as happy as you were when you got out of the car to go in. Yeah. Or when you walked around there. And it's important to know how to clear away other people's stuff. I mean, try walking around the supermarket right now with a mask on. I've lasted the maximum of 20 minutes in a supermarket before I've had to say to my husband, I'm bailing, give me the car key. I can't. Because everyone is frightened right now. Yeah. The energy out there is fear, uncertainty. I'm sure there's people that are fine. I'm sure there are, but I'm not coming across many of them. So when you get back into your car, we have sanitizer in our car. You'd sanitize your hands. You put your mask somewhere because you know you don't want to take those bugs back into your home. So you dispose of that or recycle it, whatever you do. What are you doing for your energy? What have you done to sanitize your energy? Probably nothing.
Yeah.
And then you're sat in that car with all those people that are in the supermarket that are either hating wearing a mask, or they're about to lose their job, or they've lost someone to COVID, or someone's ill at home with COVID, whatever it is. You could have a bit of that in your energy. And you go home, and from being in a good mood, you end up being in a grumpy, unproductive mood. You can't put your finger on it. It's because you come home with all the crap from the supermarket. So I want to show people how they can really easily and simply, really simple techniques. I'm not asking you to don't go and do a rain dance. I'm not telling you need to chant. I'm not getting you to dance naked under the moon, although that, you know, sky bathing, I call it, or sky clad, and sunbathing or moon bathing is a really wonderful thing, but I'm not going to ask you to do that. But we can clear your energy so that at least you know then when you have that awareness and you go into the body, and I suggest everyone does that for at least 5 minutes a day with no distractions. Turn everything off, turn the music off, phone off, everything, ignore the front door, whatever. Go and sit somewhere where you won't be disturbed just for 5 minutes and notice how you are. How does your body feel? What are your thoughts that are floating up? What is going on with your body? Where's the tension? What's the feeling? You know, focus on actually being aware of what you are and how you are, because that awareness will give you connection to your normal.
Yeah.
And once you know what normal is for you, then you'll soon know if anything else is disturbing your energy, if anything else is creating an imbalance. Until you know what 100% is for yourself, you're not going to know if anything's disturbing it. So it's all of those things to help people be more self-aware and to have lots of tools for taking care of themselves if they're not balanced. I know that's a long-winded answer, but...
Oh, this is wonderful, though. But you know, the main overarching idea I've got for September is positivity post-lockdown. Yeah. And I will say to all the watchers, everyone watching here, I did not prime Jo to say that, but everything you said is exactly... It's everything that the Pearls of Wisdom retreats stand for. And yes, it's covering all those things. You know, I'm a high achiever and I've done a lot of work with corporate, but I still have my spiritual side and I look after my well-being and I put all of them together. And I see my business grow when I include everything. And it's just a little thing where when you say the messages and you ignore them, when I used to do my oracle cards regularly, everything that used to come through, and I used to look up the angel numbers all the time, and it would say, work with spirituality, do something with spirit, move.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I don't know how I can do that in my work. And yet I found a way, and the way I feel inside, the way my chakras align and everything, it just resonates because I'm doing the right thing all the time. I tried different things. It didn't quite work because I wasn't doing what my soul aligned purpose was, what the vision for me to work forward is. And it's learning those things.
It's being truthful with yourself as well. And you know, the buzzword of being authentic.
Yeah.
That kind of hit, didn't it? About a year ago, people started talking about being authentic. And well, if you're carrying lots of other people's energy, and if you're not listening to your body, and you're not allowing yourself to look after yourself in all aspects, then you can't be authentic because you're not facing your shadow, you're not dealing with your issues, you're not taking care of yourself. And that's the people that hit burnout. And I can say that because I hit burnout myself, and I know you did as well. And it's that what taking care of your chakras will do. You see, the minute you decide you're going to take care of yourself, your whole attitude towards your body changes. And you start to see your body in terms of its value rather than its purpose, because I think a lot of us see our body as it's a servant to us. So our spirit is within our body, and whether people believe that or not, the body's a vehicle, isn't it, for your consciousness. And we let our bodies go and go and go and go and go until they stop. So there's two kinds of people in life. There's the people that get their car regularly serviced every 6 months. They take it down the car wash once a week. They make sure it's good nick, they hoover it out. And then there's people who let their cars go and they drive them into the ground until they don't work anymore. And it's like that with our bodies. You have two kinds of people,
Yeah.
you know, but either way, you know, whether you want to take care of everybody or not, you either do it and choose to, or you'll be forced to at some point, won't you?
Yeah.
Because your body just can't keep going and keep going and keep going without care.
Yeah, and it is exactly what you said. And the other thing that I picked up on, you said there, is the dark and light. And you do need that binary opposition, because I know when I'm standing up and everyone is seeing me everywhere, I'm talking about the retreat and everything, some of that I need my masculine energy to come forward because I need to be really pushing, and other times I need my feminine side to come in. And it is that's that rock that you said with the two colors, because you do need both. When you look at yin and yang, you need both to actually have that balance and to move forward.
And I trained as a priestess in the Glastonbury Goddess Temple, so I'm a healer priestess. And in that learning, you learn about the masculine and the feminine. You have to have both. You can't be all or one or the other. In order to have balance within the body, the light and dark, the feminine and the masculine, you have to allow them to dwell together. Because, you know, there is a thing as well, and I know that you're going to have men and women on the retreat, but just focusing on the feminine side, because that's where my expertise is that we run away from sometimes the opposite of what we are. You can be incredibly strong, but also gentle.
Yeah.
I think there's this misconception that in order to be strong, you have to be hard, you have to be really boundaried, you have to be strong with people, stern with people. And I just simply think that isn't true. There has to be balance in all things, and that, you know, being a woman in business, it's just as important, I think, to have gentleness. But being able to fire up that boundary if you need to, and to pull in that masculine energy. I mean, when you look at the goddess, I'm dedicated to two different goddesses. So one is the goddess of Avalon, and the other one is a goddess called Ceridwen. And Ceridwen is the crone energy. So she is about the darkness. She's the crone of death. She's the crone that helps us in the death and rebirths that happen in our life. And we all go through transformation in life. And she can appear dark to people because she does look like the typical witch, the crone, you know, and she has a cauldron. And we can sometimes, I think, mistake those times in life that look a little bit dark. We can mistake them for something really difficult, unsurmountable, too challenging. We don't want to go into that. So I'm not a great fan of that phrase, pushing out of your comfort zone. I rather like to think of it as going into those areas that frighten us, those areas that give us a bit of a chill, that make us feel, oh God, I don't know if I can do this. I think that to me is what Ceridwen is about. She takes you into the dark, and she takes your worries and your fears, she shoves them in the cauldron, she stirs them until they turn into this beautiful liquid gold, and she gives you it back as treasure. And in order to absorb that, in order to take on the light and the dark, you have to be open. You have to be able to know how you want to feel. You have to be able to manage your energy.
And this is where you grow. You know, I've done shows about this, and literally you have that. Yes, I must admit, I am guilty of saying stepping out of the comfort zone, because I still have an awful lot
we all
of
use
corporate.
Yeah, but it's part of our language now. It's in our language, isn't it?
But it's like you say, knowing yourself, knowing when to dial up and dial down those different energies.
Yeah, totally.
And then it's that transition as well, that death and rebirth, like you say, that as you grow, you go to that transition, you do the work on yourself, and then you see the difference. And I mean, I can only say this because you've helped me loads, which is partly why we're talking all the time, because I'll ask a certain question and I'll run off and practice something, and then I'll come back and say, oh, this happened, what do I do next? But it's you helping me and seeing that. And you know, I share on my show as well. Everyone gets to hear about my journey and what I'm doing, because it's going to resonate with someone else. And actually it's being brave and sharing, because sometimes you keep it to yourself.
Yeah, and I think as well is, you know, again, as women and as men, we can sometimes dilute ourselves down to make other people feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
We change our personality, or we don't tell about our successes. Or I was having an interesting conversation with my daughter quite a while ago now, and we're lucky enough, there's three of us, there's me, myself, my husband and my daughter, and we are the three musketeers. We're very close and we're very, very lucky. We have a nice life here. But I come from a broken home. Jason doesn't, but you know, my parents divorced when I was 9. And a lot of my daughter's friends are from split families. And they don't have the privileges that she has, as in she gets to be with her dad every day, and that she gets to be with her mum every day, and that, you know, she's lucky enough that we've been together 26, nearly 27 years now, and we do still love each other, which apparently is quite rare. But you know what? She didn't want to tell her friends. Like, she wouldn't talk about how happy her life was. She didn't want to say how well me and her dad get on. She didn't want to talk about our weekends when we'd go off and have little adventures, because she didn't want to make her friends feel bad because she knew they were having a shitty time, or they didn't have their dad there or their mum there or whatever. And this is what we do quite a lot. We dilute ourselves down, and it might be that we dilute our experiences down, or we dilute our personalities down, or we dilute our achievements down. But I say that's got to stop. If you're going to be authentic, then let people see you as you are. Don't be ashamed of your accomplishments. Don't hold back on the things that you're good at. Come and join us for the weekend and connect with people that will allow you to cheer about yourself and for yourself at the rooftops, because, you know, no one's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And the more balance, I mean, I'm going to always come back to the healing side and the wellness side, because that's how I'm programmed and that's what I do. But it's more than just that. It's about all aspects of your life. And what I've found in my business life is that as my business has grown, and I'm very lucky, I've through really sheer hard work and doing my best, I've built up a good reputation. The people that I work with seem to respect me, and I get results for people in whatever I'm helping them with. But, you know, it's taken me a long time to even be able to say that out loud. Yeah. So, you know, it's stay humble, of course. We don't want loads of arrogant people running around putting other people down. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's okay to say, actually, I'm doing well, I'm doing okay. And being open about that with people.
Yeah.
And actually signing up to retreats like this is a sign that you are taking care of yourself. If you're going to spend that money on yourself, and let's face it, it's a small investment compared to anything that I've seen out there. But if you're going to put that investment into yourself, I mean, you could come for both days, Saturday and Sunday, for £50. Well, I spend that on a massage for an hour. You could actually get a whole weekend of just gold, isn't it? It's gold dust. If you'll know when you are at a point where you are changing, where you are valuing yourself more, and where you are ready to invest in yourself just by signing up to things like this retreat. Because you're giving your whole body and the people around you a clear sign that you're putting yourself first. And that can start a whole new wave of movement and change within your life.
And this is where I keep saying, you sign up to attend, to watch and learn from the wonderful exhibitors we've got currently. You do that now. These retreats will run every 3 months. If you do nothing, in 3 months' time, when you see us promoting the December retreat, you'll be exactly the same place as you were. You might even have gone backwards because you've given in to the negativity and everything. You attend September. In December, you could be an exhibitor because you've learned so much from what the wonderful people are sharing. You've stayed in a positive vein. You've started to connect with all these people, so the vibrations go higher, and it is only going to move you forward. But as with all things, you have to put the effort. You have to decide to say, yes, I am going to do this. I am going to move forward. And it's that old adage, isn't it? If you keep doing the same thing as you've always done, you'll always be in the same place. Whereas if you step out,
it's true.
Exactly, it can be lots of things. And the fact that we've got so many different offerings from the different exhibitors, they could be coming from the same thing but a different angle. So when you're watching that, you could resonate with someone more than others and learn. I mean, I could listen to you all day every day, and you'd probably have to get a restraining order out on me because I would be learning because I just soak up everything you say. I just love to learn from you. And it is that's
really kind, thank you.
And the fact that everything's going to be recorded and will be up there for 30 days, you have got that bit that the ones that really resonate, you can listen again and again. And if there's one bit that you can't remember, you go and try something and then you think, I can't remember how Jo ended that. You can play it again and you can watch and learn and you can listen. And as we all know, a habit will take 30 days to instill. And the more you do that, you learn and grow from that. And
Absolutely.
The figures, as we've said, I've worked it out from what most of the hourly rates of everyone put together come to thousands per day. And for a maximum of 50 quid, you've got all that and more because you've got it at your fingertips.
Yeah, and it could literally change your life.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, because it will show you a whole new way of being.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same as anything. You get out what you put in. So, you know, if you're going to come on the retreat, come in with that idea that you are going to give yourself this gift. Come in with the idea that you're going to get as much as you can out of it. And you will. Do you know what? You'll self-fulfill that prophecy. You will. Exactly. And what I'd like from my sessions is that people come away feeling equipped with some amazing tools that will allow them to really work on their own well-being and learn tips and tools and fill their toolbox up with ways to prevent things like anxiety, burnout, energetic intrusions. You know, there's so much that I'm going to cover that will, on an energetic level, help you feel better. And give you the power to do it for yourself. You don't have to go and pay a therapist £40 an hour to have it done. I'm going to teach you tools and tips and methods that mean you can do it for yourself if you want to.
And this is where it's pearls of wisdom, which is partly where I've got the name and sharing it. It's we're giving that wisdom to each and every person that connects with us so that they can take that and bring it into their lives and work with it as they see will really fit and connect with that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It is. And I've just seen the time, so I'm going to pull this interview to a close. It will be put up on the YouTube channel later today, and we will start to share it so that people can see and really get an idea. And as always, I could listen to you all day long because I always learn whenever you share. I always learn from you, and it's so good. I mean, you are the expert at what you do. You really are. You're fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Annie. Speak to you soon.
Okay.
Bye for now, guys.
The Pearls of Wisdom virtual online retreat is proudly sponsored by Serenity Radio. Find out more at serenityradio.co.uk.